craft beer reviews, brewing questions, past episodes of Brew4U and Brewing Today can all be found at beerloons.com, the site for brewing information on the internet. Hello everyone, I am your host Mike Campbell and welcome to Brew4U. Today we are reviewing Dark Horse Brewing Company Double Crooked Tree IPA, very rare beer. And I do have to thank my buddy Brad for bringing this to me at last night's Drink Mike's beer meeting. It was very kind of him because there's a very strict limit at most places on this beer, so I'm very excited to try this year's version and pass the information on to you if you hopefully can find it. Little information on this brewery is Dark Horse is out of Marshall, Michigan. This is considered a double IPA. It is 12% alcohol by volume. They didn't give us any other information. Their description is helpful, but I'm not going to guess necessarily what grains or hops they used, although I can get fairly close. You do want to serve this roughly 40-45 degrees Fahrenheit if you can, and put it in a pint or mug glass like most American beers. Let's start off with a little review action on the Dark Horse Double Crooked IPA. First off, this beer starts with a cloudy copper color with a cream head that has a fine bubble and kind of a medium fade time. In the aroma, this is one of the more unique aromas I've smelled in a long time, which is a nice change. You get smells or scents of grassy, pine, spicy. There's not a lot of citrus, although a hair, but most of these are, like I say, grassy is probably the most dominant. But as you smell a little bit further, you pick up a little pine, a little spiciness. There's a hint of what I call apricot in the background. And then there's a little balance of grainy, kind of bready aroma. So kind of a nice little grain presence amongst all the hops used. So let's give this a taste. You have a lot going on in this beer. So it starts off fairly subtle with a little bit of malt and quickly switches to a little bit of a hop bite, kind of a citrus note, maybe a little lemony you can call it. But you also get hit with kind of an alcohol or hot flavor. This is 12%, so I would expect to get some. It's got definitely some alcohol presence. Not really burn as it goes down, but you definitely notice the alcohol, and especially as you breathe out, you notice it coming off your tongue, similar to after you do a shot of something, let's say like a tequila. You get that little bit of kind of alcohol going off your tongue as you breathe out. So obviously not as dramatic as when you do tequila, but along that line. Like I say, kind of subtle malt up. It kind of teases you because it's very, very subtle, very light. Then you kind of get that alcohol. Now the aftertaste is about the hops. It's maybe not as dominant as a person might expect, but it definitely lingers with you and stays. It's definitely that citrus. It's maybe like a light grapefruit pith flavor. It's not super overpowering, but it's definitely more than just grapefruit, but less than if you sucked on the pith itself, I guess. I don't quite know other way to put that, but you do get a little bit of kind of a spicy note as well. It's definitely about the hops and the aftertaste, basically. There's kind of an earthiness as well to the beer, so a lot of flavor going on. This is a very powerful beer, and as Dark Horse puts it, they basically took their standard Crooked Tree IPA recipe and basically doubled everything except for the water. So very interesting beer. This is a medium body beer. There's actually a fair amount of body going on. It's definitely hoppy, although the grains are there enough to support things. I'm going to give it a 7 to 10 on the hops because there's a lot going on there with the hops. And as far as an overall rating, I'm going to give this beer a 78 out of 100. It's definitely a very good beer. Like what they've done. It is a bit overpowering. I think the balance is fairly okay. It's just a different take on things, and something that is a nice overall flavor. So give this beer a try if you can find it. And don't forget to check out our homebrew podcast show called Brewing Today. And until next time, cheers.